Gunman who opened fire at a movie theater in Louisiana, killing 2 and injuring others before killing himself.
Plus, there are calls from the State Department and intelligence community for a criminal investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email system while she was Secretary of State. Details coming up.
Good morning. It is Friday, July 24th. I'm Lauren Prisball.
And I'm Dan Godwin in for Tim Ryan. One person was critically injured in an early morning house fire in Fort Worth.
Fox 4's Lori Brown's live at the scene with the very latest. Lori?
Lauren, the situation out here could have been so much worse. Take a look at the damage that the fire did inside this home. Firefighters rescued the man from this side of the duplex, and you can see just how burned up it is. Firefighters got the call about the fire just after 3:30 this morning. The call came when a person on the other side of the duplex smelled smoke and called 911. Fort Worth firefighters got here in just 3 minutes. The resident who called told police that he thought there was a person on the other side of the duplex where the fire started. Firefighters rushed in and were able to find and get the man out of the burning building in about 7 minutes. He was overcome by smoke and unconscious when firefighters got to him. They took him to the hospital by ambulance in critical condition, first to JPS Hospital, where he was stabilized, and then he was taken to Parkland's Burn Center for possible smoke inhalation burns. Investigators are working right now to figure out what started this fire. Reporting live in Fort Worth, Lori Brown for Good Day.
Thank you very much, Lori. Well, police are still trying to sort out exactly what happened at a Northeast Dallas apartment.
At least 3 people were stabbed, one fatally. Fox 4's Saul Garza is live with that story.
Yeah, well, several residents we've spoken to say, they had no idea what happened here last night between these buildings, but police say one person was killed and several others injured. It happened about 11 o'clock last night at the Indigo Apartments here on Forest Lane. When police, paramedics got here, they found 3 men with stab wounds. One person was dead here at the scene. The others, they were taken to nearby hospitals, one listed in critical condition. Police say they're looking into the possibility that one of the injured could be their suspect. And at this point, though, a motive has not been released. Reporting live in Dallas, Saul Garza for Good Day.
Thank you so much. Well, police in Lafayette, Louisiana are now at a motel, and apparently they're collecting some evidence linked to that movie theater shooting that left 3 people dead.
About a dozen law enforcement officers are at a Motel 6 in Lafayette where they believe the shooter had stayed. The gunman entered a movie theater last night during a showing of the comedy Trainwreck, began firing into the crowd. 2 people were killed, 9 others wounded before the gunman fatally shot himself. Police say the shooter is a 58-year-old white male with a criminal history, but they've not yet released his name. We will have more in a live report from Lafayette coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, a man was inches away from being seriously injured when he crashed his wrecker into an 18-wheeler. So this happened just after midnight on I-20 right near Polk Street in the Redbird area of Dallas. The man was actually pinned in that wreckage there. The hood and the radiator of the wrecker folded back in the crash, basically just stopped shy of the driver's face. And a woman is seriously injured after being thrown from the back of a motorcycle near Fair Park. Police say that she and the driver were sideswiped by a taxi right in front of those snooty paired apartments. While the driver suffered a shoulder injury, the taxi driver and his passengers were not hurt.
Well, if you have outdoor activities scheduled for the weekend, no reason to cancel them.
No, just sunscreen, more sunscreen.
Yes.
Maybe a little fan, drink lots of water. What else, Evan? What am I forgetting?
I was going to say, wear light-colored clothing and get away from Texas. That's probably the one. Go somewhere cool because it's going to be hot for the next several days. Will it be 100? It's going to. We've had 99 4 out of the last 6 days here. And honestly, some of those days, Dallas and Fort Worth have hit 100 and 101. But the airport is all that counts. The record today, 108. We're not going to hit that. 74 right now, Van Alstyne, 77 in Mansfield. You know what? Today is actually a little bit less humid. Our dew points have dropped into the 60s as that high pressure begins to build over our heads. Even out west, Mineral Wells, Stephenville, low 70s. So the mornings are pretty comfortable. It's the days that are going to get hotter because that dry air is going to heat up a little more rapidly. And the lighter winds, you will notice there's not going to be a ton of wind this afternoon. The breeze maybe 8 to 12, 100 heat index up to 104. Hotter, but a little less humid today. We'll look at the extended forecast. I got a lot of hundreds in there, but I do have signs of a break in the bake. And we'll deal with that in a few minutes. Let's see who's hitting the brakes.
Yeah, some folks are in various areas of North Texas, but the biggest problems right now are the following. Number one, I just want to follow up with the police activity we were talking about in the Joe Pool Lake area. One of the bridges that goes over Joe Pool Lake is the Lakewood Ridge Parkway, and it's been closed around Grand Peninsula Drive because of that police activity. So please take note of that. Folks at the Grand Prairie Police Department say that the incident itself should get to the point where they can reopen the main lanes there very soon. But just wanted to make note of that. You can see also 360 moving up past Webland Road to 20 is a little slow. And I'm also concerned about I-20 traffic passing the George Bush Turnpike to Beltline. The last couple of minutes, traffic has really thickened up there, but I haven't heard of any reports of any wrecks or stalls in that area. So I'll have to check out the cameras. Speaking of checking out the cameras, take a look at this. This is going to be I-30 around 2nd Avenue. The traffic flow through there is looking okay, but not okay on I-20 on the ramp to northbound I-45. The driver here took this load into an area and got stuck, and that ramp's going to be closed for quite some time. Dan and Lauren?
All right, thanks, Chip. Back to one of our top stories this morning, deadly shooting inside a Louisiana movie theater.
Gunman opened fire during a movie, killing 2 and injuring 9 before he killed himself. Fox's Randy Wallace is live at the scene with the very latest. We're waiting for a news conference, right?
That's right, Lauren. Originally, they were saying it would happen at about 6:30. Now we're hearing that the news conference will take place around 7:15. It's hard to imagine what it must have been like in Theater 14 last night at 8 o'clock when a 58-year-old white man who was apparently sitting alone stands up, says nothing. 20 minutes into the movie, the romantic comedy Trainwreck, stands up, says nothing, and shoots 2 people sitting directly in front of him. He fires several more shots. At that point, everyone is trying to run out of the theater, and from what we're being told, he went in the opposite direction until he saw cops went in the opposite direction, trying to get away from them, and that's when he took his own life. Now, of course, the big question right now is why? Why would someone commit such a horrendous, terrifying act? And we're hoping that some light will be shed on that during the press conference at 7:30. Dan and Lauren?
Yeah, and we don't know too much about him other than they said he's 58 years old, a white man. Had some sort of criminal history, though?
From what we're being told, he does have a criminal history, but it's being described as petty. It doesn't sound like he has any kind of lengthy, serious criminal history.
And what's going on at the motel, this other location that we're hearing where they're searching a motel? Is that where they believe he was staying?
Apparently, yes. We haven't gotten a lot of information about that. And again, hopefully, during the press conference, they're going to discuss that, exactly what it is that's going on at that motel.
And Randy, there's word of a woman who was inside the theater, jumping in front of the line of fire to protect other people?
Yes, we're hearing some really incredible acts of heroic acts. Yeah, there were a couple of teachers who were in there, and one teacher apparently first tries to shield the other teacher from getting shot and pulls the fire alarm, which, needless to say, probably saved many, many lives.
Yeah, no kidding. Randy, thank you so much for that update.
Sure.
And this week actually marks 3 years since 27-year-old James Holmes opened fire in a crowded theater in Aurora, Colorado. 12 people were killed in that shooting, 70 others hurt. Jurors unanimously decided yesterday that Holmes could face execution.
Well, Sandra Bland's death has been confirmed a suicide by hanging.
Now, she was found hanging in her Waller County jail cell July 13th, 3 days after she was arrested during a traffic stop. Now, the report says there are no injuries to suggest foul play was involved in her death. The only mark is on her neck, and it's consistent with the shape of the bag authorities say she used to hang herself.
This is consistent with a suicide, according to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Science, because the mark on her neck, which I will show pictures of at the completion of this discussion, is a uniform and consistent mark around the neck of Miss Bland.
Well, prosecutors say they asked Bland's family to preserve her body for 24 hours so that additional fluid samples could be taken. That's not going to happen, though, because her sister says she's been embalmed already. The State Department wants the government to look into whether Hillary Clinton's emails contain classified information. The intelligence communities also asked the Justice Department to open a criminal investigation now. A recent probe by both inspectors general found hundreds of potentially classified emails on Mrs. Clinton's personal server that she used when she was Secretary of State. The Democratic presidential candidate denies any wrongdoing, saying everything she did was legal. And Donald Trump took his presidential campaign to the Texas-Mexico border. It was all an effort to gain more of the Hispanic vote.
I employ thousands and thousands of Hispanics. I love the people, the Latinos. I love the people.
The Republican presidential hopeful told reporters in Laredo, quote, "There's great danger with the illegals." But he claimed to have a great relationship with Hispanics. Latino leaders have criticized Trump for painting Mexican immigrants as criminals. Border Patrol personnel were supposed to accompany Trump, but they pulled out at the last minute.
The Border Patrol invited me, and then they canceled because, frankly, they don't want to get involved. They know the problem. The reason they invited me was because of the tremendous problem and the tremendous crime and all of the things that you're talking about. So they invited me, and then at the last moment, I mean, we were virtually in the air, and they said, we can't get involved. And I heard they got those orders from Washington.
Trump's controversial remarks on a few topics have led to widespread criticism and just as much publicity. Despite it all, the Republican candidate is leading in the polls.
It is 7-11. People in the colony are getting a new venue for live music. Wait till you see this thing. We'll tell you all about it.
Car critic Ed Wallace shows us a luxury car that is good for the environment.
All right, a hot weekend ahead of us. You're going to need the AC. Evan's got the forecast coming up.
heard the talking heads say, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. We're looking at temperatures 79 out there right now. Clear skies, going to see a lot of that sunshine over the coming days. Now the 79 is actually pretty decent for this time of the year. 78 over Arlington. Remember, tomorrow, Saturday, that's the date our average high hits 97, which is the hottest normal we get, well, for the next 3 weeks practically. But still, we are about to hit the peak of the worst of the peak of the worst. You got the idea. And there are some clouds. There are a few of them down towards Corsicana on I-45 down to Palestine. These are low clouds coming up, but they will dissipate pretty quickly after we get the sun kicking in. High and dry. High pressure is now building in. It was down around Austin yesterday. It's working its way up towards Abilene. And as it gets a little closer, a couple of things happen. First of all, with the high overhead, we will get generally some lighter winds in the atmosphere, and they're not so much out of the Gulf anymore. So I do expect that we will end up with our triple-digit official today. Hey, I've said that for a while, but even yesterday, DFW and Dallas and Fort Worth, Dallas Love and over Fort Worth Meacham, both hit 100. DFW missed by a degree. Either way, we've got the idea. It's hot. It's spreading north. It's spreading east. It's actually pretty mild across the Northeast. They've gotten a pretty good break from summer there. Actually, a lot of folks up there are going, where is summer? It's been unusually cool for them. Well, today, upper 90s by 3, 4 o'clock. And as I said, I do expect us to at least touch the 100-degree mark today. Some folks 101. That south wind, it's lighter. It's not gone, which is good, because if it was gone, we'd have air pollution issues. Still 90 at 11 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a warm night, probably around 80 tomorrow morning. And the afternoon highs you probably saw 100 go flying by. I think we touch 101, 102. So we've been asking everybody on our Good Day Facebook page, how hot is it? Okay, I said be creative. This one's a little too creative, but I kind of liked it a little bit. So hot I added noodles and carrots to the bird bath and had lunch. All right, that's an ooh, but at the same time, it's kind of like the ooh point. Send one in to us. Write it in on our Good Day Facebook page. You'll see the post there. I'll get yours on the air. 100, 102, 102, dropping down slightly Monday and Tuesday, ever so slightly. And by middle of next week, it's more out of the Gulf. So probably 99s Wednesday and Thursday. But the important thing is there is still the possibility for a summer cold front on Friday to usher in August in the mid-90s. Chip?
Thanks, Evan. 2 ways you can tell it's summer. Obviously really hot, and then also the fact that traffic overall lighter than normal. A lot of folks have vacation time using it, so we're about 20% lighter over in Tarrant County, and no wrecks or stalls. We were talking earlier about the transition on I-20 from 360 over to Spur 408 being really heavy passing Carrier Parkway. Did briefly have some trouble here, but it's cleared. You can see it's now starting to break up a little in that spot, but it is a little slower than normal. Remember that on I-20 eastbound and northbound I-45, a truck is stuck, took the ramp, and had a load that was way too wide for the available concrete in that construction zone, and so that ramp being closed means really the best alternate route is just to continue on I-20 to the 310 exit, take that to go northbound instead. Also had some trouble over on the northeast side of downtown Dallas briefly on the Woodall-Rogers ramp eastbound to go to northbound 75 Central Expressway, but this TxDOT shot at ground level shows you that problem's been cleared away and the speeds are starting to pick up there. Speaking of picking up the pace, southbound 75 Central heading down through Allen. That earlier trouble at Bethany with a car that spun out has been removed from the roadway, and as you can see, no collateral damage anymore. Good Day rolls on after this.
Oh, there is a big merger in the health insurance industry this morning. Anthem is buying Cigna for more than $54 billion. I mean, this is huge. This deal comes just weeks after Aetna agreed to buy Humana for $37 billion. Now, if these deals are completed, it would shrink the number of major health insurers in the U.S. to just 3. The combined Anthem Cigna would have revenue of $115 billion and serve more than 53 million people.
Yes, consolidation, the word for today. American Airlines is reporting a record profit in the second quarter of the year. The Fort Worth-based carrier earned $1.7 billion over the last 3 months. That's a 97% increase over the same period a year ago and better than Wall Street analysts expected. Revenue for the period was slightly lower than anticipated. The airline is in the final stages of integrating U.S. Airways into its system following the merger that brought it out of bankruptcy about 2 years ago. Remember, for the longest time, we were doing stories about American Airlines losses, but boy,
things have changed.
Things have turned around
and
a bit.
And we've had to pay a lot more baggage fees. That seems to help.
Yes, very likely. A new live music venue is coming to a booming area of Denton County.
This looks so cool. It's going to be called the Lava Cantina. It's going to be built in the Grandscape development. That's right next to that new huge Nebraska Furniture Mart in the Colony. They just opened a restaurant there. I think they have a rooms to go there as well. So and there's some land, so they're going to build this there. It's going to feature an 1,800-seat venue for live music, along with a restaurant that's going to, of course, serve some Mexican dishes, Creole dishes. The people behind the project have a similar development in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and apparently it's done really well there, so they thought, hey, let's give this a try. And they hope to have the Lava Cantina open in the spring of next year. But if you really think about it, that area doesn't really have a music venue to go to. A lot of people that live in that area have to come into Dallas to see, some of the stars. So
the artist renderings are drawing me in.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Looks good. It is 7:20. Car critic Ed Wallace puts an all-electric BMW to the test. His review is up next.
But first, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
Line into our investigation section, and a person
Shut up and drive.
I'm just still not sold on these electric cars yet.
Well, yeah, this is an interesting segment. You say BMW and you think sleek lines and elegant styling.
Right.
So I don't know if this vehicle has that, but it must have other attributes. Ed Wallace is going to tell us.
Well, Dan and Lauren, this is the second time in a row I've brought an electric car over here where I've come from West Fort Worth. We'll do the review, we will go back, and I will still have range on the battery. This is a BMW i3, and wait till you hear the sales numbers on it in just a moment. Now, they sent me one with the range extender on it. The EPA range on the battery is supposed to be 72 miles with the range extender, 82 without it. Meaning you can put a couple gallons of gas in right here. If the battery gets down to 5%, then the motorcycle engine turns on, acts as a generator, keeps you going. In this case, about another 80 miles. Here's the shocker. Like the Kia Electric Soul, which got like 40 miles better than the EPA said it would, I'm on my way to doing 99 miles on the range on this battery today, which the EPA says you only go 72. Now, it is a BMW. It's light. It's got a lot of carbon fiber in it. It's one of the lightest electric cars out there, but it feels heavy, substantial, and you kind of want to open it up because you know it's going to handle like a BMW. It's got that type of suspension. Now, moving over to the interior, and by the way, this is a four-door. It has suicide doors on both sides. It's fairly simple looking, but it's got all the things you expect in BMW. A huge screen if you get the navigation, and so you can watch your trip computer, miles per kilowatt hour used. The air conditioner was so cold, coming over here this morning, I couldn't leave it on max. I had to turn it up to 70 degrees or I'd freeze myself out. It is whisper quiet. In fact, most electric cars are quieter than regular cars because you don't have a motor going. But in this case, this one's every bit as quiet as the Kia Soul was, and you couldn't hear anything in it. And still has space in the back, in spite of the fact it's got a 22 kilowatt battery in it, in spite of the fact it's got the motorcycle generator. Now they start at 42. This one's got leather, it's got the extender, this one goes to 54. But you can buy them nicely equipped with navigation under 50. Now let me tell you the sales numbers. We're on a pace this year to sell 9,300, 72 of them just here in America. 10,000 is what BMW thought they'd sell worldwide. And if this pace keeps up, they may sell more electric cars this year than they sell BMW 7 Series sedans.
Wow.
That's amazing. With that, y'all have a good weekend.
All right, you're going to have to check it out. You can listen to Ed on 570 KLAF tomorrow. His car column is always in Saturday's Fort Worth Star-Telegram as well. It is 7:27. A feat of strength between strangers saves the life of a woman trapped under a car. It's an amazing story. We're going to take another look at how they finally got that woman out.
Plus, a man is hospitalized after he is rescued from a burning home in Fort Worth this morning, the latest in a live report.
It's 7:30 a.m. and Good Day continues live and local on Fox 4.
Well, a man's in critical condition after an early morning house fire in Fort Worth.
Fox 4's Lori Brown is live at the scene with the latest. Lori?
Dan, I think it is fair to say that firefighters saved a man's life this morning. Take a look at the damage that the fire did inside this home. Firefighters pulled a man out from this side of the duplex, and you can see that flames really tore it up inside. Firefighters got the call about the fire just after 3:30 this morning. The call came when a person on the other side of the duplex called 911. Fort Worth firefighters got here in just 3 minutes. The resident who called told police that he thought there was a person on the other side of the duplex where the fire started. Firefighters rushed in and were able to find and get the man out of the burning building in 7 minutes.
Engine 8 is who was performing the search and rescued the victim. They reported that he was located in a room immediately adjacent to the front door. We're able to get him out safely and began treating him outside.
The man was overcome by smoke and unconscious when firefighters got to him. They took him by ambulance in critical condition to JPS Hospital. He was stabilized there, and then he was taken to Parkland's burn unit for possible smoke inhalation burns. Investigators are now working to figure out what started this fire. Reporting live in Fort Worth, Lori Brown for Good Day.
An update now to one of our top stories. Police in Louisiana have identified the gunman in last night's deadly shooting inside a movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Now you're looking at live pictures from a news conference, and this is the governor of Louisiana speaking right now. What we heard just a few minutes ago from this news conference was that they've identified the gunman. He's 59-year-old John Russell Hauser, and police told us in this news conference that he's a drifter from Alabama, has a criminal history, and that only one handgun was used in this shooting. 13 rounds were fired. We know 2 people were killed, 9 others injured before the shooter, the gunman, this man named Hauser, killed himself. And we're listening in on that news conference. Of course, we'll bring you any more information as it becomes available. Critics and supporters of a controversial high school mascot dominated a school board meeting in Halton City.
The topic of Confederate symbols was not on the Birdville ISD's agenda, but dozens of parents, students, and alumni shared their thoughts. The Fort Worth Southern Christian Leadership Conference wants Richland High School to replace all references that support the Confederacy. Backers of the rebel mascot want the board to preserve the school's traditions and not give in to political correctness.
I would like for people to see the diversity that we do have at Richland High School and judge us on that, not on somebody else's preconceived ideas.
There is a direct correlation between the spirit of the Confederacy and the spirit at Richland High School that is permeated throughout this district, that says there are 2 sets of rules, one for the rebels and one for everyone else. Well, that should have died in 1865.
School supporters rallied in support of the rebels earlier this month. A Waxahachie woman faces animal cruelty charges after Ellis County Sheriff's deputies found more than a dozen dead dogs in plastic bags. Deputies performed a welfare check at the home of 69-year-old Gail Justice. They noticed a foul-smelling odor but weren't allowed inside. Deputies then got a search warrant and they seized 68 dogs, 3 cats, and a macaw. Justice didn't think she did anything wrong by boarding the animals.
I sound like some old lady with a cane who collects cats. And nothing could be further from the truth.
The dogs are being examined by veterinarians at the SPCA headquarters in Waxahachie. A hearing is scheduled for next Wednesday. Well, with the help of strangers, Dallas police officers and firefighters rescued a woman who was trapped underneath a car.
Officers involved in the July 9th rescue say the woman was gasping for air. Boy, they had to act fast. Police say a car hit the woman on her motorcycle, then ran over her on Greenville Avenue in Old East Dallas, and that's when more than a dozen people came together and, look at this, lifted the car off her.
She basically just didn't look like she was responsive at all, so we knew that we didn't have time to wait. any longer.
I just wanted to keep talking to her, reassuring her that we're trying to help. Help is on the way. We're going to get her out from under there.
The motorcycle rider was treated and released from the hospital. Dallas police say the driver of the car was at fault. The police report says that person lied to officers at the scene, telling them the motorcycle rider ran into the back of the car.
Yeah, a remarkable thing to see. Great, all those Good Samaritans helping out.
No kidding. Wow, and their strength is pretty amazing, Evan.
It's called adrenaline. Yeah, when you got adrenaline, you can do a lot of things you can't do on a normal day. And on a normal afternoon, you could go outside. I would recommend trying to avoid direct sunlight between 2 and 5 o'clock. We're ready for the blast off here. It's a little bit drier, going to be a little hotter. Temps favor 100 to 101, at least on the atmosphere. Weekend temperatures will be in the low 100s. That's a 101, 102, 103 with full sunshine. And we keep this all the way through next Thursday, but there is a break possible by next Friday, so we can at least hold out hope that this is not permanent. 94 by noon and 100 this afternoon. A lot of clouds, very little, or a lot of sun, very few clouds, except maybe 1 or 2 the afternoon, and there's a couple down by Palestine early this morning. We'll take you through the weekend in the 7-day forecast. I mean, it's not the best news we've ever heard, but Chip has some good news because for the most part, this hasn't been a bad commute for a Friday.
You know what? We haven't had any big time incidents in, oh yeah, I don't want to jinx it. No big time incidents, I'm going to say it anyway. So far in Denton County and in Tarrant County behind me, you can see pretty good too. Northbound traffic on the East Loop and then traffic on 183 is all a little slow, but nothing that would be considered unusual. We've had some early morning troubles that have been in downtown Dallas along Woodall Rogers and 75 Central. We've cleared all of those incidents. Over on I-35 around Royal Lane, the main lanes are flowing along okay for this time of the morning, but there's a lot of activity along the service road of I-35 in Royal, so please note that. And then, of course, our big problem, I-20 eastbound to go to northbound I-45. It's been blocked for about 45 minutes now, simply due to a truck stuck in that area. There's a look at the truck there in the left center part of your screen. I'll just bring this camera up full briefly so you can get a better gander at it. This is the second time in the last 10 days or so that something like this has happened. There are signs that are up saying that there's restricted access on these ramps. It's narrow, and this truck just didn't pay attention to it and is completely stuck. Hard to say how long it's going to be till this reopens. Take Highway 310, which is just east of here, as an alternative to go north. Dan?
All right, thanks, Chip. 7:37, the time on this Friday morning. From Barry White to Beyonce to Buddy Holly, a new museum in Irving covers all of Texas music history, and it's quite a story to tell. We get a sneak peek at the memorabilia and other facilities about to open. Welcome back to this Friday edition of Good Day. Oh, is that okay?
Yeah, Crazy in Love. Come on,
Okay,
Dan.
well, yeah,
get with it.
I was about to. That was going to be my guess. Soon you will be able to see the largest display of Texas music history in the world.
Fox 4's Jenny Anchondo visited the Texas Musicians Museum and Music Garden in Irving before its big grand opening.
Beyonce Knowles, born in Texas.
This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it.
American Idol winner Kelly Clarkson, born in Texas.
In the club with my homies, trying to get a little VI.
Usher, also a native Texan, but Texas's rich musical history also dates back to Buddy Holly, Lyle Lovett, and Barry White. Now the expansive story of musicians from the Lone Star State is being told at the Texas Musicians Museum.
We like to say Texas is the center of the musical universe.
This is a Janis Joplin tour outfit, and this vest and boot combo was once worn by Waylon Jennings. Curator Thomas Creason has been collecting pieces for the museum for 30 years.
And I started to come across so many pieces that were related to Texas that were being sold and then taken to other places, either private collections or going to Europe or Japan, and I just thought, wow, this is the most incredible history in the world of music, and we're losing it every day. Something's got to be done. So that's when I kind of gleaned my collection that I had at the time towards just all Texas music.
Just outside the museum is a cafe and performance stage for already famous or up-and-coming Texans to entertain a crowd.
That ticket that you get for the concert actually allows you to come into the museum as well. It's a kind of a bonus thing and something very special that a lot of other venues can't offer to people.
The exhibits will rotate, but if you're lucky, you just might find a dress worn by Tanya Tucker or a piece of Willie Nelson's wardrobe. In Irving, Jenny Anchondo for Good Day.
All right, so the public opening party for the Texas Musicians Museum in Irving's tomorrow from 10 in the morning until 10 at night. And Texas musicians will perform live throughout the day. You'll find more information at fox4news.com. It is 7:43. NASA's discovered a planet strikingly similar to our own, maybe similar enough to support life.
A top Dallas Stars player is recovering from surgery. Fans hope he'll be back before the upcoming season.
All right, it's going to be another hot weekend. We'll check in with Evan, and Chip is checking the roads.
Welcome back. You know, there is going to be a very big crowd in Irving tomorrow for the opening of the Texas Musicians Museum, which we just were
Are you
finding out
going?
about.
You're like totally into that whole scene.
Oh, he's Mr. You know, give me rock, give me information.
I'm not sure if I'll be there tomorrow, but I'm going to
But you're
go
gonna
for
go.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They've assembled a fantastic collection of memorabilia. Covers all genres of music. It's you know, it's a cool place. And the organizers were saying, you know, they pitched this idea to other cities around North Texas, but it was Irving that really got on board immediately. Really enthusiastic.
I can see you going through there, like, as you're with your mouth, your jaw open, as you're looking at all this stuff. He loves that kind of stuff.
As long as there's no lines outside, as long as they don't have to make it, it's like, you know, when you're at the amusement park and you have to wait
get inside
around.
the AC.
Yeah. Hey, there's going to be a lot of sun in the forecast, which means a lot more sunny selfies coming our way. I love this. I thought this one was pretty cool. Deja Garcia Ramirez, thank you. I guess her kid was asleep next to the tree. That's wonderful. And Laura Thornton sending this one in as well. Yep, the pool is cool. It is the play. Yes, Lauren gets the extra because yours is about that age range now. I know Landry's close. And as we look at the sunny selfie of the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, yeah, there's still a Trinity River there. It's just getting smaller and smaller each day. 82 Dallas, 80 Fort Worth, 80 Carrollton and Frisco. We have a light south wind. Winds are going to be light today. And look at the dew point, 68. It's not wonderful. It's still humid, but it's lower than it's been the last few mornings. And it should begin to dry out this afternoon to about 64, 65, which I consider sticky enough. Once it gets above that 70, we don't want 70 anymore. That would be squishy, slimy, and sultry. So 68. We'll call it a little bonus this morning. 76 at Duncanville and Lakeside. That's dew point in the 60s with the light winds and the clear skies have allowed many temperatures to dip into the 70s this morning, except for the city of Dallas. We'll take that. Sherman, you're also 81. But hour by hour, it's going to go up in a hurry with light winds, drier air. 91 at 11, should be 94 at noon. And other than a few low clouds that have crept up close to Palestine and Fairfield, they'll evaporate in the next hour or so. That's all there's going to be. And you can almost see that there's a little circulation going on right there. That's your high pressure center beginning to expand across the state. It's going to actually track a little west of the Metroplex. And that's important because as it tracks to the west, we will probably see some of those hotter temperatures develop, and the storm track is going to stay north until late next week when it buckles and a cold front comes down. We may get a cold front to end July and begin August, but until that point, temperatures are going to soar. We've got us at about 100 today. As the high pressure area comes over us tomorrow and tomorrow night, I think the heat begins to expand. Look at how few clouds we get. All the showers are way around us, and that high sitting over us on Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday, should make it some of the hotter temperatures across the area. I've taken it down a little bit, like a degree, just because DFW just isn't matching up to Dallas or Fort Worth. They've been running a degree under. 100 today, 102 Saturday and Sunday, 101 Monday. We'll drop into the upper 90s Wednesday and Thursday with a low shower chance Thursday. That front should come through maybe Thursday night, Friday. And we plunge, Chip Wagner, plunge into the mid-90s.
Compared to 103, I guess that's good. Drive right now over on 183. That's where we're going to focus our attention first, because in Hurst, there's a new wreck, and it's over on the right shoulder of the roadway, but causing a little bit of an onlooker backup, continuing from Precinct Line and Norwood over to the Bedford City Limit Line past the LD Bell campus. The drive over on the other part of 183, once you get into Dallas County, it's more stop and go approaching Loop 12, but I would consider that normal for this time of the morning. And boy, is that going to get worse once the construction for the expansion work there ramps up. 635 LBJ going in the eastbound direction. Slow from Luna and Farmers Branch to I-35V, but nothing that would be considered unusual. Still pretty decent for this time of the morning, heading from Frisco and Plano on the tollway, and still accident-free on Central, heading from Collin into Dallas County. Lauren?
All right, Dallas Cowboys running back Joseph Randall got 6 months probation after he pleaded guilty to a shoplifting charge. That was from that incident in Frisco last year. He stole a test bottle of cologne and some underwear from a department store at Stonebriar Mall. The plea deal also included a $500 fine. Cowboys training camp, by the way, starts next week in Oxnard, California. And the WNBA Board of Governors has unanimously approved the move of the Tulsa Shock to our area.
Yeah, the majority owner of the team announced the move earlier this week, but needed the league's approval to make it official. Many fans launched a Save Our Shock campaign to try to keep the team in Oklahoma. Minority owners of the team have filed a lawsuit to stop the move, saying they invested in the club based on the premise it would remain in Tulsa. The team will finish this season in Tulsa before moving to the College Park Center on the campus of UT Arlington, pending approval of the UT Board of Regents. The Shock started in Detroit in 1998 and won 3 WNBA titles before moving to Tulsa in 2010. Dallas Stars fans are hoping the captain will be skating soon. Jamie Benn was the league's top scorer last season, but it's been a rough offseason for the Art Ross Trophy winner. He's spent the summer working with the team's medical staff after undergoing not one but 2 operations on his hip.
First couple of weeks were, pretty bad. I was on crutches and couldn't do much, but I'm moving around pretty good now, and we got 2 months left here to raise it up another level, and I try not to do too much. The trainers are always all over me to settle down, to not have any step backs, and that's what I'm trying to do.
The Dallas Stars open training camp in September. Ben hopes to be ready for the regular season in October.
All right, yeah, we need him there.
Yes.
It is 7:52. Jake Gyllenhaal suits up and shapes up in a movie called Southpaw. It's out in theaters today. How much training the actor says he had to do for this new role coming up?
Although it's 1,400 light years away, something about it feels kind of familiar. We'll learn more about a new Earth-like planet recently discovered by NASA. Well, we're sorry to say no Tell It to Tim this week. If you haven't noticed already, Tim is enjoying some much needed and richly deserved time off. So what will we do with our gripes, grievances, and hurtful comments? Just hang on to them for a week. If you can't do that, well, the phone line is still there. All you got to do is call 214-468-7447 or go to the Good Day page of fox4news.com to send an email. and Tell It to Tim will return 1 week from today. We can mark our calendars. NASA says its Kepler Space Telescope has found a planet that is strikingly similar to Earth.
Slightly bigger, a little older, and orbits a sun-like star in the region where it might actually be able to support liquid water and life. Fox's Steve Harrigan takes a look.
It's being called Kepler 452b, a newly discovered and distant planet in the solar system 1,400 light years from our own.
We're announcing the discovery of an exoplanet that, as far as we can tell, is a pretty good close cousin to the Earth and our Sun.
Kepler 452b was found in the constellation Cygnus by NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, launched back in 2009. Its size is about 60% larger in diameter than Earth, and similar to Earth, Kepler 452b is orbiting around a star, somewhat like our Sun.
The star is the same surface temperature and type as the Sun, a G2 star. The star is 10% bigger and 20% brighter than our Sun, as it's somewhat older. And this planet orbits its star every 385 days.
NASA researchers believe the planet's atmosphere could contain water, raising the possibility it could support life.
Today, the Earth is a little less lonely because there's a new kid on the block who moved in just right next door.
The discovery of Kepler 452b brings the total number of confirmed planets to 1,030. But NASA says this so far is the closest.
I really emphasize this so far because the Kepler data set is very rich and the science community has full access to be able to extract, future discoveries.
The discovery comes on the heels of NASA's New Horizons spacecraft sending back the first ever close-up images of Pluto. In Miami, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Some tantalizing prospects there to think about. A couple of minutes now ahead of 8 o'clock on this Friday. One person is dead, 2 others hurt in a stabbing at a Dallas apartment complex. Police may know who is responsible.
We're going to have the latest on the investigation into the gunman who opened fire inside a movie theater in Louisiana.